In a lab experiment, researchers trapped one rat inside a small, clear container. Not hurt, just stuck, unable to get out on its own. A second, free rat was placed nearby, in an open space where it could easily wander off, groom itself, or just ignore the whole situation entirely. It could hear the trapped rat. It could see it struggling, pawing at the walls, trying to squeeze through gaps that weren't there. And it had absolutely nothing to gain by helping. No food reward, no social benefit, no one watching to judge it. Nothing. It freed it anyway. Not once, consistently. Across dozens of trials, free rats figured out how to open the container and let the trapped rat out, sometimes taking hours of trial and error, pushing and nudging the door until it finally gave way. Some rats tried and failed for so long that researchers assumed they'd give up. They didn't. And here's the detail that really got researchers' attention. If you're the kind of person who finds this stuff genuinely moving, hit like and subscribe, because Blorpin's got a lot more of these. When researchers offered the free rat a choice, open a container with chocolate in it or open a container with a trapped friend in it, many rats opened the trapped rat's container first, then went and got the chocolate afterward. Some even saved a piece of chocolate and dropped it in for the rat they'd just freed, instead of eating it all themselves. Researchers ran the numbers to check if this was random, and it wasn't. The rats consistently chose the distressed animal over the reward. That's not an accident of instinct. That looks a lot like rats prioritizing another rat's distress over their own reward, and then sharing the reward anyway once the problem was solved. Here's the twist. Humans do this constantly, and we barely register it as remarkable. You've probably stopped what you were doing to help a stranger who dropped something, or pulled over for someone stuck on the side of the road without calculating what you'd personally gain from it. Most people don't even think of it as a choice. It just happens, almost before you've had time to decide anything. Even toddlers who barely understand language will try to comfort another crying child, patting them, offering a toy, sometimes before they can even reliably tie their own shoes. Nobody sits a 2-year-old down and explains empathy to them. It shows up before the vocabulary does. Psychologists call this prosocial behavior, and there's a theory that it's rooted in something called emotional contagion, literally catching another creature's distress like you'd catch a cold, and being driven to make that feeling stop, in them and in yourself. Helping isn't always a moral decision. Sometimes it's closer to relieving your own discomfort at watching someone else suffer, more reflex than virtue. Which means the rat wasn't necessarily being noble. It might have just been uncomfortable watching another rat struggle, and helping was the fastest way to make that discomfort go away. Which, if you think about it, might be exactly what's happening in you too, more often than you'd admit. That guilt you feel walking past someone who needs help isn't really about them. It's about how unbearable it feels to keep walking, how the discomfort follows you down the street whether you turn back or not. There's actually a darker flip side to this too. The same studies found that rats were far less likely to help a trapped rat from an unfamiliar group, a rat that looked or smelled different from their own colony. The instinct to help isn't unlimited. It's strongest for us, and weaker, sometimes almost absent for them, which uncomfortably tracks pretty closely with a well-documented pattern in human behavior too. We help strangers, but we help people who feel like our people faster, harder, and without hesitation. Rats figured all of this out with a brain smaller than a grape. No language, no moral philosophy, no religion telling them helping is good, no childhood lessons about sharing. Just a nervous system that couldn't sit still while another rat was in distress, and a slightly weaker version of that same feeling for rats it didn't recognize as one of its own. We figured out the exact same wiring, just dressed it up in bigger words. Empathy, kindness, compassion, tribalism, in-group bias, and built entire belief systems, religions, and philosophies trying to explain why we do it and why it doesn't extend equally to everyone. Turns out, a lab rat could have pulled us in one afternoon. It's not really a moral choice at all, at least not at first. It's just what happens when one creature can feel another one's pain and can't quite make itself look away. Should Blorpin cover the chimpanzee that gets furious over unequal pay next, or the honeybee colony that votes on where to live? Drop your vote in the comments. That's the Blorpin theory. Stay curious.